Welcome, everyone, to our very first AI to Crypto deep dive for the week.
Yeah, great to be kicking this off.
We're here to really cut through the noise and give you that critical overview. What's happening where AI meets crypto.
Exactly. And we've been digging through a lot this week, news, social media posts, videos, you name it, all to pull out the key stuff for you.
And this first AI to Crypto deep dive is brought to you by blockchaincompany.info.
And we also want to thank our sponsors, the 4IR Utility Token and 4IR GPT.
That's right. You can find out more about the 4IR utility token. It's EU approved over at 4irtoken.com.
And 4IRGPT.com, that's their AI knowledge trading platform. Really interesting concept.
It really is. You can trade your own expertise using prompts. Worth checking out, see if you can trade your knowledge today.
So looking at this week, what are the big themes? Well, AI regulation is definitely buzzing. Lots of talk there.
Yeah, especially after that Senate testimony we'll get into.
For sure. And then there's the whole discussion around AI's impact, the good, the bad, the potentially transformative.
Right, both sides of that coin.
And of course, we'll look at the crypto market, Bitcoin's reaction to the Fed, things like that.
Okay, let's dive in then. AI regulation. That Sam Altman testimony before the Senate Commerce Committee, big news, highly recommended watch. What was your take?
Well, the stated goal, was about strengthening America's AI capabilities. That was the focus.
And it wasn't just Altman testifying, was it?
No, not at all. You had some heavy hitters there. AMD's CEO, Dr. Lisa Su, Michael Intrater from CoreWeave, Brad Smith from Microsoft.
Wow, okay, so a serious lineup. It shows how high profile this is becoming.
Definitely. And we saw some interesting commentary, like from Dean Louie. He talked about the wonder of competition in AI.
Yeah, I saw that. His point was the U.S. used to be way out front, but rivals like DeepSeek are, well, changing the game.
Sort of, yeah. He mentioned this emergence alongside shifts in trade, but the main thing was this idea that the U.S. is now actively pushing to keep that innovative edge. It really highlights that global race.
Right. And that idea of keeping an edge, it ties into another piece we looked at, doesn't it? The one framing the Senate hearing as the U.S. building a moat.
Exactly. That was a strongly recommended post, Perspective and Watch. It uses this powerful metaphor, building a moat for its citizens against what's coming with AI.
Okay, let's dig into that moat idea. The Post compared the arrival of AGI, artificial general intelligence, to a tsunami warning. Pretty dramatic.
Very. And it described three groups of people reacting to this warning. You've got the first group who take it seriously right away, prepare, find higher ground.
Okay, they're proactive ones.
Then the second group, they sort of wait and see. Maybe they take a few steps, but they're not fully committed until the wave is closer.
Hedging their bets.
And the third group, they just don't believe the warning at all. Maybe they've never seen a tsunami, so they dismiss it.
Right. And the Post argued the outcomes are vastly different.
Yeah, hugely different. Group one, the proactive ones, they're set up to potentially thrive after the change. Group two, the wait-and-see folks, they might get hit hard but maybe recover.
And Group 3.
Group three, the disbelievers, they risk being completely overwhelmed. Wiped out, basically, according to this analogy.
So the argument is this Senate hearing with Altman and the others is the U.S. being Group 1, taking it seriously, building that protective moat.
That's exactly the interpretation in that post. They see it as the U.S. getting ahead of the AI impact, preparing almost like a strategy to make America great again in this new AI era.
It's a really striking way to frame it.
Yeah.
And the recommendation was to watch the full hearing, like 3 hours of it.
Yeah, on Blockchain Company's media platform, they called it an impressive open discussion about U.S. leadership and handling these potential AI tsunamis.
Okay, but there are other perspectives too, right? More cautionary ones.
Oh, absolutely. We also flagged a strongly recommended watch with Paul Tudor Jones. His view is starkly different. He basically said AI poses an imminent threat to humanity in our lifetime. Pretty strong words.
Wow. That's a big shift from discussing competitive advantage. What was the context there?
He was on Squawk Box, talking markets, economy, that sort of thing. But he spent significant time voicing these deep concerns about where AI is heading and the dangers. Less about competition, more about existential risk.
So you've got this split view emerging. One side focused on innovation, leadership, building moats.
and the other sounding a major alarm about the fundamental risk to humanity itself.
It really shows how complex and, frankly, unsettling this whole AI development is for a lot of people.
It really does. The potential and the peril all wrapped up together.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the innovation side, the potential transformations. There was that highly recommended post about Google's Gemini.
Yes, this is where you see the immediate potential really shining through. Gemini building web apps just from an idea prompt.
That sounds revolutionary. What are the implications?
Well, the post jumped right on it. Think about all those domain names sitting undeveloped. Millions of them. Suddenly, they could become actual businesses, almost overnight. Huge potential value unlock.
Just from an idea and an AI.
That's the start. But then the post talks about agents and agentic AI taking over. Meaning the AI doesn't just build the app, it then improves it, scales it, maybe even markets it autonomously.
Whoa.
And it mentioned M2-meter machine-to-machine interaction becoming more common, like MasterCard and Visa enabling AI agents to handle payments, AI systems doing business with each other.
So you could have a startup that's maybe, what, a couple of humans overseeing a bunch of AI agents running the show?
That's the picture painted, yeah. A lean team, the domain owner collects revenue, but the AI does most of the heavy lifting. It's a radical shift in the business model.
So the advice was basically, grab good domain names now.
Pretty much. Get domains representing specific industries, like their example, insurancegpt.com, and let the AI build it out. Huge potential there for agentic AI.
And this lines up with that update from Joseph Isaiah about Gemini 2.5 Pro, right? From the Google I/O event.
Exactly. He highlighted its performance apparently topping the charts in AI coding tests. Better than GPT-4o, Claude 3.7 on some benchmarks. That shows a real leap in AI's coding smarts.
But the really cool part, he said, was just that taking an idea and boom, a working web app in seconds.
Yeah, that's the game changer. It's not just for pro developers anymore. Creators, beginners, anyone with an idea could potentially build something functional. It just democratizes creation in a big way.
Which brings us to that other piece, the Jason Calacanis perspective on the Fiverr CEO's memo.
Right, the Learn AI or Get Left Behind memo. Calacanis really honed in on that.
Pretty blunt message from Fiverr's CEO to employees.
Extremely blunt. The memo basically says AI is changing jobs so fast you have to use these tools aggressively. It's not optional anymore.
And it wasn't just about using AI, it was about becoming AI first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The memo suggested hiring more people isn't the answer if the current ones aren't using AI effectively.
Precisely. It's about augmenting people with AI. The focus shifts to finding and promoting people who get AI, who think AI first.
And the warning was stark. Adapt or risk being replaced. Not necessarily by AI itself, but by someone else who is using AI well.
That's the crucial distinction. It's about leveraging the tool. Those who master it become way more productive, more valuable.
So you see these threads converging. AI gets powerful enough to build businesses, and simultaneously there's immense pressure on individuals to learn how to use these powerful tools or fall behind.
It points towards a major shakeup. How we work, how companies are built, it could all look very different very soon.
Okay, definitely a lot to think about there. Let's just pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors again.
Right, this deep dive comes to you from blockchaincompany.info, and it's sponsored by the 4IR utility token and 4IR GPT.
And just a reminder, 4IRtoken.com for the EU-approved utility token info, and 4IRGPT.com, that's the AI knowledge trading platform. Really encourage you to check it out. Start trading your own expertise using prompts. That's 4IRGPT.com.
Okay, so moving back, let's touch on the crypto market updates. We saw that CNBC Crypto World report. Bitcoin rises as Fed leaves rates unchanged.
Right, so the headline there is pretty clear. Fed holds rates, Bitcoin goes up. What's the thinking behind that link?
Well, the common take is market sentiment,
Yeah.
When the Fed doesn't hike rates, it can signal stability, maybe makes investors feel a bit more comfortable with risk assets, like Bitcoin.
As opposed to when rates are going up, which can make borrowing more expensive and maybe dampen that kind of investment.
Exactly. It's often seen as a positive signal, or at least not a negative one, for assets perceived as higher risk.
And that CNBC segment covered more than just the price action, right? Something about testimony.
Yeah, they mentioned Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent testifying on the Trump administration's crypto priorities, so regulation's still very much in the picture.
Oh, wait.
And also Alex Miller from Higher Systems talking about his own congressional testimony. He was pushing for clearer crypto laws.
So the industry is still actively pushing for that regulatory clarity.
Definitely. It shows that while AI is grabbing headlines, the crypto world keeps moving too, reacting to the economy and engaging with policymakers. These two spheres are definitely running in parallel, and sometimes they clearly intersect.
Absolutely. It feels like a really dynamic period for both.
For sure. This week's look really highlights that complex mixed tech breakthroughs, economic factors, regulatory pushes, all happening at once in both AI and crypto.
So let's try and wrap up the key themes. We saw that intense focus on AI governance with the Altman hearing and this whole building a moat idea for U.S. leadership.
Right, countered by those serious warnings, like from Paul Tudor Jones, about the potential downsides, even existential risks.
Then the sheer speed of AI development, like Gemini building web apps, changing the game for business creation, and that pressure from the Fiverr memo, adapt or else.
And finally, the crypto market, still reacting to Fed moves, still pushing for clearer rules of the road.
It really paints a picture of massive change underway, driven by these powerful technologies.
Absolutely, a future being actively shaped right now.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, our listeners, to mull over. As AI keeps accelerating like this, how do you think these new rules being debated, these regulatory moats, and AI's power to transform economies, how will that ultimately change things for crypto and blockchain?
Good question. Will building walls around AI help or hinder decentralized tech like crypto? Will they grow together, or will one overshadow the other?
Yeah, will those moats end up protecting innovation in crypto too, or somehow boxing it in? It's something that could really define the next few years.
Definitely food for thought. And if you want to keep exploring these connections, head over to blockchaincompany.info. They've got more content on YouTube, LinkedIn, all their channels.
Great stuff. Well, thank you for joining us on this week's AI to Crypto Deep Dive.
Yes, thanks for tuning in. This has been an AI to Crypto Deep Dive brought to you by blockchaincompany.info and sponsored by the 4IR utility token at 4IRtoken.com and 4IR GPT at 4IRGPT.com, the AI knowledge trading platform.